Guys, it's me, Ashley. So I'm gonna kind of give y'all a little story on how I found out I had pneumonia, how my reaction was, and how I learned from it. So it all started off Sunday morning, last week. I don't remember the date. Don't ask. I don't even know what day it is today, but um, I woke up healthy. Like I felt normal. Like I was working out every other day that week. I felt healthy, like normal Ashley. We did Sunday service early that morning because I think we woke up literally at 8, so we waited till 9 to do it. I remember specifically. Then we went for an hour walk afterwards. Then we come home. I had so much energy. Like I would have never thought I had pneumonia. Well, around 3 or 2 that day, me and Jacob were like, you know what? We're so bored. We're gonna take a nap. So I take a nap. We both take a nap, and then I wake up, and it's around 6, 7. I don't know what time, but it was dark but light outside. But it's late. And I had a cough. I've never felt a cough this way before. I was like, if it's my allergies, wow, my allergies must be hidden this year because I have seasonal allergies, right? And it's allergy season. So I was like, wow, this cough it didn't feel normal to me. Like I know my body and it didn't feel normal. So I texted and I was like, I'm not gonna be able to babysit tomorrow because I just didn't feel right babysitting because if I had something more than a cough, I mean more than like say if I got diagnosed with COVID, for example, um, I would feel so guilty and I that just didn't sit right with me. So I didn't babysit Monday morning. Monday, all that day, I had a fever and I was not out of bed. I didn't get out of bed at all. My husband, I think Jacob forced me to freaking eat a sandwich, or I didn't want to eat it. But I had to so I could make him feel better. And plus, I didn't eat anything. I wasn't drinking fluids. I was just on NyQuil and Dayquil. Shout out to my in-laws for bringing me some that night, Sunday night. But yeah. And I was like, no, I can't have a fever. Like, there's no way I have a fever, Jacob. This thermometer is broken. Like, I was so in denial. Like, I knew I wasn't sick. And I was like, then there's no way I have the coronavirus because we have been staying inside our house. That's the crazy part. Ah. But anyways, I make Jacob to check his temperature, and his was like 98, 97, normal. Mine was like in the 100 something. So I had like a mild fever, and I didn't feel good. And I had a cough. Every time I would breathe, I would go crazy coughing. Like I couldn't breathe. But I breathe. I don't know how to explain it. It's the worst feeling ever. So then come Tuesday, I wake up. I think the Dayquil only gets me till I fell asleep like at 12 that night because I couldn't sleep. So it only gets me to like 5 in the morning, and I'm awake. I have a freaking cough drop in my mouth, trying to like soothe myself, like it's gonna be okay. Like I know this is just my allergies. They cut the grass Saturday, I think. So I was like, maybe this is just really bad allergies. And I kept coughing, and I kept having a fever. My fever didn't go away. Um, and I think I was even taking Tylenol. My fever still wasn't going away. So then I was like, oh no no. So then I think I'd take another nap in the morning because I woke up at 5, took like a nap at 8, woke up like at 10. And I was hardly sleeping too because my cough was so bad. I felt so horrible. And this cough, I don't even like thinking about it. Like I don't even know how to make myself stop crying. Like I just still can't believe this happened to me. Well, I was coughing and I was coughing. I could not catch my breath. Like it was scary. Like I was like, it sounds like I have the coronavirus. Like I have the coronavirus. We've been self quarantining. Oh no, I babysat Saturday. Like I was like, if I have it, they have it. I was like, everyone around me has it. Everyone's gonna get sick. And it was just obviously you don't want all that guilt on you. So you're like, no, no, you don't have the coronavirus. But I was having a dry cough. That was my symptom, dry cough and fever. And those are the symptoms for coronavirus. So when I wake up, I was like breathing, but I couldn't do this. I couldn't do that. because every time I did it, I would go crazy coughing for like a straight 5 minutes. But it was, my cough hurt so bad. It hurt. It hurt. I don't even like thinking about it. So I can't believe it happened to me. Like I said. So I'm coughing, and Jacob goes like, you know what? Let's go outside. Let's see if we can go outside. Like maybe you just need some fresh air. Maybe it's the house. Maybe something's in the house, or maybe like there's dust. But we had cleaned the house already. The house was good. But maybe it's something. Maybe it's something. And so I'm like, okay, I'm strong. I'm gonna fight against this. So I get up, and my ankles felt so heavy. Like it scared me. Like I've never felt this way before. Like I couldn't walk. I didn't have the strength to walk. And I was still coughing. I was going crazy coughing. And I was like, Jacob, like this is something serious. Like deep down, obviously you don't wanna diagnose yourself with something, but like you don't wanna say, but you don't want to scare them either. Like I have the coronavirus, or like I'm sick. But I know my body, and it didn't feel normal. So obviously after that cough attack, after that cough attack, Jacob like talked to his parents. They give good advice. So we decided to go to the hospital. We go to the Lavernia ER. I think that's med something clinic or ER. And it was scary because you had to call to like even go inside the office, like if you have these symptoms. So Jacob explained it to them, whatever, and the nurse comes in full PPE gear. I don't know if it was full gear, because I don't remember if his shoes were covered or not, but obviously he walked outside. I had my mask on just in case. I don't want to spread it to anyone. He comes, takes me inside. Jacob wasn't allowed to go inside with me. That was the scary part. Because he, like, before I went to the hospital, he was, like, up all night with me. Like, anytime I coughed, he was always there for me. Always making sure, like, carrying me if I couldn't go, like, just holding me, making sure I was okay, which, just so glad I had Jacob during the sickness. But I go in alone. I'm still coughing. I get swabbed for the flu, and come back negative. Every strep comes back negative, everything. But I kept coughing in the doctor's office. I don't know, like I know they don't think I was kidding, and I was not being dramatic, I promise. But I know I couldn't breathe. Every time I would cough. So I was coughing constantly. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little like scared, like if I have the coronavirus, like everyone around me is pretty much effed, because it's like I was most worried about the little baby I babysit, because he's just 2, and I think, I don't know, it was just scary. So they did a chest x-ray on me, whatever, to make sure, like, I guess it wasn't, I don't know a lot of research about the coronavirus. I just watched the news, but I guess the coronavirus is like pneumonia-like. So I guess that's why they did the chest, and maybe they did know, maybe it could be pneumonia. So they did it because the doctors are really smart. So then I get the chest x-ray. I'm still coughing. The doctor comes in. She goes, so everything came back negative, but we reported you to the Metropolitan, where I have to go get swabbed. If not, they're going to come looking for me. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know if they're going looking for me. But I had to go get swabbed, basically. So she was going to send me home with an inhaler. And I was going to get sent home. But then my results for the pneumonia, I guess, came back. And she goes, she just opens the door and goes, you have pneumonia. And I remember when she told me that, like, I've never been sick in my life. I'm only 21. Like, I've always been healthy. So I remember I just started crying and crying. And I was like, oh my God, like, is it contagious? Like, yes, it's contagious. And I was just crying. I was like, oh no, little Grayson's gonna get pneumonia. And I was just, Jacob's gonna get pneumonia. My mother-in-law, my in-laws are gonna get pneumonia. I was just talking to Belly, and she's gonna get pneumonia. I was going crazy. Like, I kind of let fear get in my head a little bit that time, because you don't want to be the reason why someone gets sick, especially during this time. It's just all scary. Um, so obviously the doctor told me that I'm gonna have to go get admitted into a hospital because they're taking precautions because of the coronavirus. So she asked me what hospital, and I was just like, I've never been to a hospital before. Sorry if you couldn't understand me, but she asked me what hospital. I've never been to a hospital. So I was like, just send me to the one you think's best. So I had to drive in an ambulance. I still couldn't see Jacob. This time I was in the hospital for like an hour and a half, in the ER for like an hour and a half, all alone. I didn't even have my phone, until like the doctor told me I had pneumonia. Then I think they told Jacob, I told them to call Jacob because I was not getting anything through my head. Like I had a little mild fever, I was coughing, I was so coughing so much I couldn't hear. All I could feel was pain and I couldn't breathe. So Jacob's hitting my phone, the charger, whatever. I told them to call Jacob, so Jacob knew I was still all alone. I had to wait another 45 minutes for the ambulance to come so I can get transferred to the hospital. And I was just crying too because I was like alone, but I wasn't alone. I wasn't alone. Right? God's with me, and I believed that, and I had all my faith in Him. But sometimes fear just sweeps, and it was the guilt. Like shoot, if I had pneumonia, everyone's gonna get pneumonia. So I was crying because of that. I didn't want anyone to be sick because this is the worst feeling ever. So I didn't want that on anyone. But okay, enough of that. So I get transferred to the hospital. I go into an isolation unit. I'm still alone. I still didn't tell Jacob bye. I forgot to say that. Like that was the most heartfelt. That's what got me the most. Like I couldn't do the love of my life. I couldn't even like. I just saw a little bit of him before I exited, so I just waved because I was feeling a little bit better. They had already gave me my IV, everything for pneumonia while I was waiting for the hospital. So yeah. And then I got to the hospital. It was Baptist Hospital here in San Antonio. And I went to an isolation unit with other COVID patients. That place is isolated for COVID patients only. So you couldn't get in or out of the hospital in that area. I remember I had a nurse. Oh, first of all, let me tell you about my trip okay, so when I first got admitted, like I was getting inside the ambulance. Well, I got a phone. I had made a post on Facebook, obviously, because I hadn't been on the internet since Sunday night because I was so sick. So I let everyone know who loves me that I have pneumonia. And yeah, so I guess my wonderful church mates, brothers, sisters, I guess they saw it and they told my pastor Natalie, which I love so much, and I'm so glad she called me. She did a prayer with me over the phone, and it's not that made me feel so much better. Yes, and I'm so glad because God puts people there when you need to hear them the most. Because let me say this: when I was entering the ambulance, I was like, shh. I've never been in an ambulance before. And I felt my heart rate slowly elevate, and then I get that call. And it was just of warmth, like God was speaking through my pastor, which that was the best feeling ever. She did a prayer over me. And I don't think the EMT knew at that time that I was getting a prayer over me. I think he just thought I had my eyes closed because I was scared. But so we hung up. Thank you for calling. So blessed for y'all. And then it's like 10 minutes into the ride, and the EMT was like talking to me. I couldn't really hear, but I heard. And he gave me this verse, which it stuck with me throughout the whole stay at the hospital. This is a powerful verse. Like, even during this time, during the coronavirus, this is so powerful. It was so powerful to me because I've never been sick. I've never been alone during this time. And I needed to hear it. And it was like God's way of speaking through him to me again. And this is the verse. It's, "For God hath not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound of mind." That's Timothy 1:7. 2 Timothy 1:7. And I remember he gave me that verse, and I was like, oh my gosh. God has his hand over me. He has all these people where they need to be for me at this moment. Like the pastor called me, she was there for me. God had her there for me when I needed her to call me. My phone was about to die. My phone didn't die. The EMT gave me those words of wisdom. Like, the Bible is wisdom. So then I get dropped off at the hospital, and he read the same thing to me again, and I was like, you'll get over this. He was even trying to give me a peace of mind in that ambulance by saying, like, you probably won't even have pneumonia, blah blah. Which, thank you, sir, whoever you are. That really helped me get through being in the hospital. Like, when I was having hard times, that verse and like my prayers from everyone at church, talking to Jacob, especially talking to my family, his family, like, it helped me get through my stay at the hospital. Okay, back to being in the isolation part. I had wonderful nurses. Like, when I say wonderful, it's like God put everyone where they needed to be for me that night, because I was scared at the beginning. I was scared because I was going into a COVID. I was like, I might have like coronavirus. That nurse, I don't want to give names out or anything, but she works at the Baptist Medical Center. Oh my God, thank you, all my nurses, thank you. Dude, they were angels. Like, it's like God had his hand over me, had his angels putting fluids into me, feeding me, soothing me, rubbing my back, like helping me go to the restroom, teaching me how to unplug things for me to go to the restroom myself, plug it back in. Like, all those nurses, EMTs, everyone at this time, like, they deserve, if I had all the money in the world, I would literally give them like 100 gift cards each, but I don't. So all I can do is pray for y'all. Pray for the nurses, EMTs, everyone who is on the line of duty right now, because they are doing something big right now. I talked to my nurse. She had family, and I was like, oh my gosh, you should be, like, aren't you, like, so, like, I'm just so worried having pneumonia. Like, aren't you worried, like, you're going to take anything back home? She was like, you know what? That does come in my mind, but, like, right now isn't the time. It is the time to be scared, but it isn't the time to, like, quit on something that I love doing. Like, I love my job. So thank you. You know who you are, nurse. You probably will never see this, but y'all, like, I think I even was praying in the hospital, worshiping, and I was just like, please, I still pray for y'all. I still pray for all the nurses that took care of me, and the nurses that are there, and the doctors. Like, they were so amazing. Like, I never been to a hospital, and I'm so amazed. I was treated first class. Thank y'all so much. So while I was in the isolation unit, I was having high fevers, 101 point something, steady. It would not go away. And I remember during that time I was talking to Jacob, whatever, and I was scared because I never felt this way before. I remember being in my bed, and I was so cold, so cold. I'd never been this cold in my life, like, without being sick. I remember I was talking, and my teeth were clacking, my body was just moving, and I was like, I know it's not my time. I know it wasn't my time. God is so good for that. But you have that if it is your time. I never had pneumonia before, so I don't know. But you have that thought in the back of your head, like, if it is your time. So I did prayers. I did prayers on everyone who loved me, everyone who I ever had a relationship with. And I just had prayed. And I prayed, I was like, if anything does happen to me, I just pray that, you know, that you have your hand over them. You let them know that I was okay, like, and they will be okay. And that's just the part that, when I think about, like, I can't believe I did that prayer. Like, it was not out of fear. It was not a prayer of fear. It was a prayer of, you don't know what's happening next. Like, you don't know. I didn't know what was gonna happen next. Every time I would breathe, I would go I would go crazy. But I was getting good oxygen into my lungs, so I am happy about that. But every time I would breathe, that was the scary part, that I was getting these bad, I was shaking in my bed, chills. So, I had to do that prayer, and I prayed for everyone who took care of me. And I was praying, like, God, like, please keep your hand over me. Like, just keep it. And okay, over that part now. And then I prayed for myself, like, to get better, because I was not scared. I was already over my fear, and I had already put 100% in my faith after I got in the ambulance, after, like, right as I planted my bottom on that, in that isolation room. So yes, I was not scared during this whole time. I had 1000% faith. But it was always that feeling in the back of my mind, because I never felt this sick in my life. So, when I was going to sleep, I was like, shit. I already prayed over myself, over, like, if anything does happen to me. I wanted to cry, but I couldn't. I couldn't find me in me to cry, because I was fighting. I was fighting for my life. Okay? And, when I closed my eyes, I just had this whole thing of, like, shoot, I'm 21. I haven't accomplished anything that I wanted to do in my life yet. Like, I haven't. I've only accomplished, like, this much. I haven't accomplished everything. I was like, I know it's not my time. So get that that was already out of my head. Like, I knew it wasn't my time, but just in case, But, I was like, I know it's not my time. Like, I know it's not. I'm not a mom yet. I've not impacted lives how I've been wanting to impact life. I haven't had my dream job yet. I haven't bought houses and sold them yet. Like, my life isn't done yet. So, that's when my mind shifted. I was like, I know I'm not gonna die. God, this is just something that I went through. I still kind of not clear how I got pneumonia, but I got it, okay? And it wasn't, because I've been at home for 2 weeks straight. So, since the whole coronavirus, I've been home. So, I don't know how I got it. So, I knew at that moment, when I closed my eyes and I had all this stuff of what I haven't done yet, I knew I was not done fighting. God is not done with me. God hasn't failed me. Just because I'm sick doesn't mean God failed me. He did not. He's watching over Jacob. He got him home safe. He's watching over my in-laws, which are so awesome. I'm so thankful for. He's watching over my family, which I love so much, and I just want to see them again. He's watching over Grayson, who I babysat. He is safe. I pray for him every day. I pray for everyone every day. So yes, God's watching over them. And so what I learned from that is, after all this coronavirus stuff goes away, I'm going to accomplish my goals, my dreams, because life is just so amazing. God has a path paid for us, and He's not done writing any of our stories. What?
Still recording?
Yes. So to conclude this video, I did want to say that you never know what life is going to throw at you. Like, you don't. I didn't even know I was going to be sick. I didn't know I was going to go to the hospital. We all didn't know this coronavirus was going to happen. By the way, I tested negative for it. But, if there's someone in your life that you have, like, don't have a healthy relationship, or, like, want to build a relationship with, like, do it today. Like, literally after this video, if you watched it all, like, message them. Like, when I was in the hospital, I was okay with if something did happen, like, because I had a good relationship with everyone. Like, I worked on everything I needed to work on. I had the best husband ever. I had the best family ever. I had the best friends ever. Like, I was okay with anything happen because I had a perfect relationship, and most importantly, I had worked on my relationship with God, and I knew that I would be okay. So if this taught me anything, it was to make sure that you have a healthy relationship with everyone, and you just show everyone love every day. Like, since I've been home from the hospital, I've had a whole different perspective on life and my marriage and my family and my in-laws and my friends. Like, I have a whole different perspective on everything in life, and I'm glad I'm still taking antibiotics. Like, I don't want to say I'm glad this happened, because I'm not glad it happened. It sucked. But I've learned, and I think I've grown so much spiritually, mentally, physically from it. I've grown so much from it, and with God from it. Like, He literally was there for me every step of the way. And although I was alone, I wasn't. I had my pastors constantly praying for me. I had an EMT that I didn't even know read me a scripture, and I had everyone was praying for, everyone was there for me. Even people I haven't talked to in months were there for me. So just remember, people, it's never too late to fix your relationship. It's never too late to stop holding a grudge, because those aren't worth it. Just always remember to tell someone you love them every single day. I was perfectly healthy one day, and then I had pneumonia that night. So I don't know how pneumonia even starts. So just remember, life is crazy, but guess what? God will always be there, and He will always, even when you don't feel like anyone is there, He's there. And I remember crying on my way back when I got to the hospital. And I was like, it hit me like I was in the hospital. And I was just crying of joy. Like, God really put everyone where they need to be for me at that moment. And I was just so happy. Like, I thank God. I pray every day. I still pray every day. I thank God every day. I thank God for everyone that He put around me to help me be stronger. Thank you to all the people that were constantly checking on me. Like, oh, that meant so much. It still means so much. Like, I just feel like I have a whole new bond with y'all. Like, it's just warm. I don't know how to describe it, but I'm just so thankful to be alive and actually be healthy today. I can't wait to start a normal life again, to be normal, to work out, because I have lost some weight. But you know, that isn't my priority right now. My priority right now is to stay healthy. But see this man right there? He did love me so much. I love him so much. I love everyone so much. Like, this is a whole different, I'm seeing life, all my relationships with everyone, I see it so different now. Like, I love y'all 1,000 times more. I'm so glad to even see y'all's face 1,000 times more, because for a second, I thought I was never going to see y'all again. Just remember, never take the ones you love for granted. And, you know, God loves you. And if you think today is the day to get your relationship right with God, you do it, honey, because He loves you and He wants to hear from you. Alright, guys, so I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Sorry if it was long, but this is my story of being in the hospital with pneumonia.